everywhere. KSBY News starts right now with breaking news.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for the news at 6. I'm Megan Healy. We begin tonight with breaking news. Firefighters from across the Central Coast are battling a 600-acre brush fire near Buellton. The drum fire is forcing people to evacuate near Dominguez Road and Highway 246. KSBY News reporter Michael Torres is live on scene with the latest developments. All right, Michael, what can you tell us?
Well, Megan, the fire is about 10% contained. There's about 200 firefighters working on the drum fire. We have 4 fixed-wing aircrafts doing frost check drops. 3 helicopters are making water drops. And we also have dozers working on the containment lines. And right now I'm going to be bringing in Santa Barbara County Public Information Officer Mike ELIASON is joining us now. So, Mike, what can you tell us about the current conditions here at the drum fire?
Well, as of right now, we have the forward progress, which has stopped, which is a good thing. You can see there's no smoke behind us. The fire was wind-driven, as in you can tell behind us how quickly it was pushed along through these canyons. We were fortunate that there were some vineyards that helped slow the fire's progress, but we were concerned that the wind was going to carry those embers and spot it further ahead of the fire. So we set up a lot of structure protection. We had a very wide box for evacuation order, which as of 6 p.m. that dropped to a warning. So we're allowing folks to go back into their homes because the fire threat has ceased.
And then, so you mentioned earlier that a lot of the crews were at the head of the fire, trying to protect the fire from spreading to the city of Buellton in the Bobcat Springs area. So can you explain that tactic in trying to contain the drum fire?
Well, at the height of the fire, we had about 100 structures threatened. So we placed firefighters in front of those homes to help defend if the fire should have gotten to that point. We were fortunate that it was still a canyon or two away, that the fire didn't reach those homes, which is a good thing, and they were able to stop the fire's progress before it actually got close to those Bobcat Spring homes.
And then what can you tell us about the elements here at the drum fire? You mentioned wind, but what other elements are crews seeing here battling the flames?
Well, you can tell the wind's still blowing. It was a little warmer today. It was around 80 degrees when the fire broke out. So it was a wind-driven fire. It was this light, flashy fuel that pushed it along, and that can move at a real rapid rate of spread. So that pushed that fire, and then it was able to hopscotch along through these canyons and really start to increase in size in a very short order.
And then what are you guys just expecting the next couple of hours? What are crews anticipating? And what's going to kind of be the strategy going forward?
Well, crews will be out here all night. We're going to work to get a line around this whole entire fire to make sure, and then we're going to be hitting it to make sure that any of the hot spots are dead out before we mop up and leave. So we're going to make sure crews will be out here. You can hear the chainsaws down below. We have a hand crew there scratching that line around the fire, making sure that all the hot spots are completely out before we leave.
Perfect. Alrighty. Thank you so much, Mike. Thanks for joining us. Megan, back to you, and we'll continue to be here on site with more updates in the show.
All right, Michael, thank you. And you just heard from the spokesman of the Santa Barbara County Fire Department. Just to give you a recap here, the drum fire is 10% contained and holding at 600 acres. It was initially and still is wind driven. That's why we saw that rapid increase of the acreage. It earlier broke out about 20 acres around 1 p.m. and then quickly jumped to 600 acres around 4:30. Now, the evacuation orders have been downgraded to a warning, so they are allowing some people in the area of Dominguez Road and Highway 246 as well as Bobcat Springs to return. Initially, about 100 structures were threatened, but luckily, fire crews were able to stop the fire from reaching those homes, and you heard that they will be on scene tonight working to get that containment. And also an update to Highway 246, the directions of westbound and eastbound lanes are now open.